my name is Mary, and today I'll be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag to introduce myself to YouTube after uploading just a couple of videos so far. I have the questions up on my phone, so let's get started. Number one is, why did you start this channel? Personally, I started this channel because I wanted a chance to talk about books and about graduate school, and I had been blogging for kind of the majority of my teenage years and adult life, so I wanted to try something different, try my hand at talking at a camera, and doing something just a little bit new, so I thought that that would be a great chance to get started on Booktube. Number two, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? Tying into that, I had hoped that I would be able to bring something kind of different to Booktube because I'm in graduate school and will be reading a lot more nonfiction, specifically academic history, art history, philosophy, literature reviews, things like that. So I thought that that would be something that I could bring that was new. I'm also hoping to make series of nonfiction micro-reviews that will hopefully get some more people interested in nonfiction. I know there are communities of us on here that do a lot of nonfiction and a lot of art history, and I really do hope to contribute to that community as well. Number three asks, what are you most excited about for this new channel? And I would definitely have to say that I'm excited to start introducing some people to books that they might not have thought about before, because that's how I find my favorite channels, is knowing that they're reading not always the most popular things on Booktube, but something that's different and special, and that will be something that I'm just associate with them after I have read it. There is definitely books that I never would have read except for Booktube, and now the people that recommend them are almost always on my mind when I think of that book, and I hope I can do that for someone else as well. Number four asks, why do you love reading? And the answer to that is that I love to learn, and that's how I learn. So obviously in the nonfiction that I read, I'm always looking to learn something new, and you'll find that that is my praise for a lot of nonfiction that I read. It's just that it taught me something, thank God. But also I feel that way in my fiction. Even if it's not like a fun historical fact or a fun scientific fact, if I get a perspective that I've never heard before, I feel like I have been enriched by my reading experience, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So I'm actually going to combine the next two questions together. They are, when did you start reading, and what books or series got you into reading? So I've been reading since I was little, pretty voraciously. I especially love books like this one that are middle grade fantasy and young adult fantasy. This is Dealing with Dragons by Patricia C. Reed. You can tell that this copy is banged up, but that's because I read it and reread it and reread it dozens of times during my childhood. It was absolutely one of my favorites. And so going from there, I started reading, I guess, what you would typically expect. I also read Harry Potter at that age and absolutely adored it. But then I fell off the wagon a little bit during and after university, where I just had been reading so much and I just got burnt out and I wasn't enjoying anything that I was reading. And so I went through a couple of years where I read like 20 books a year, 15 books a year, and just couldn't really get the number of books in that I wanted to read. But since starting watching Booktube videos, I will say that in October of last year is when I really started picking up and reading a lot more, not just kind of tepidly more, and that was because I read Walter Isaacson's biography of Leonardo da Vinci, and that really sparked me into reading books, and especially listening to audiobooks if I didn't happen to have the physical book that I wanted to read with me. And so I would say that between Dealing with Dragons for reading back when I was a kid, and the Walter Isaacson biography, reading when I'm more of an adult and trying to get back into reading, it was definitely those two. Alright, next, what question would you ask your favorite booktubers? So the question that I have is one that I found while I was editing my previous two very long videos, and that is, how long did it take you to start getting over your, verbal tics? I swear every book that I was talking about in the fiction category follows a young woman, and it was just like every book should have a restraining order at that point. And every book that I read that was history was, fascinating, and how long did it take you to figure out how to talk about books in a way that you're not just recycling everything that you're saying? That's what I will ask. Please, if you make Booktube videos, answer me. Comment down below. Next, let's talk about what challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? For me, that answer is definitely the filming part of it. I find it kind of tedious. I would rather just talk about the books and have everything already set up for myself, especially because I know I'll be wanting to improve my film quality soon, so I'll have to investigate that. So that's the hardest part of it. Reading books, talking about books, loving books, is not hard. It's just is what it is for me. The next question is, where do you read? The answer to that is pretty simple. That is anywhere and everywhere. I always carry a book with me, so I'll always have something to read, but it's just also how I start off my day. I always start off my day with an hour of reading. But I also have the flexibility, because I run my own Etsy store now, of listening to audiobooks while I am stocking my shop and doing my work and designing what I do. And so doing that is really what has enabled me to read quite so much, and so the answer is always everywhere. The last question is, what kinds of books do you like to read? And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, the answer is that I read a majority of nonfiction, especially art history and history, but also memoir, autobiography, biography. I also read a lot of true crime, so that's nonfiction. Then I'll talk about fiction. I read majority literary fiction, general adult fiction, historical fiction, thriller, suspense, mystery, those kinds of books. And then as well, I'll read quite a bit of international literature. That's something that I'm quite enjoying recently. And so that would be the majority of what I read, but I'm always open to reading something a little bit different if anyone has any different recommendations. Alright, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I am really excited to introduce myself to Booktube and to start making videos. So if you have any questions, please do let me know down below, and if not, I will see you in my next video. Bye!